Greg Rod, Book 1, Part 1, Chapter 5, Under Burning Skies, by Lisette. Crystal Lake Law, Somerset Isles, 433, Third Era. His etched silver plate armor caught the reflection of the fiery sky while he crouched from the ledge of his post near the top of the Crystal Tower, the part of the tower that held the tombs of the great Aldmeri ancestors, the tower's heart. His hand braced against the white stone wall as he leaned precariously forward to get a better look, his other hand resting lightly upon his bent knee, his silver-white hair bound in its priestly partial topknot, and green tower cloak blowing in the hot, dry breeze. Upon his waist was sheathed a sword of shining silver steel, the hilt made of joined eagle's wings, and upon his back was a great elven bow and a quiver of golden arrows. He himself was as an eagle perched high in his eyrie, his red-orange eyes surveying the distant horizon, and his keen eyes watched, squinting against the sky. Only there was no sun to squint against now, no daily shining joy to remind them of their time in the beginning when God and Mer were nearly one. There had not been for days, only the red flames, the churning clouds, dark like burning embers upon a forge's pit, and the searing heat, mocking and cruel. His hand moved slightly upon the stone wall, causing a cluster of dried leaves to burst into dust and be borne upon the torrid gust. He followed the particles as they swirled in the zephyr like a flock of birds evading a predator. They had once belonged to a living, green thing, its vines climbing the tower heights, using it as a trellis to reach the sun, its large yellow blooms making his days on the watch pleasant with their light, crisp fragrance. They were no more, burned in the swelter along with everything else as far as his eyes could see. The forest near the tower, where he spent many hours hidden under its dense verdant canopy, wandering its damp fern-covered floor when he wanted to feel soft leaves and mosses under his bare feet, was now a black, charred desolation. The many stumps now sticking up like sharp, jagged pikes. The little stream in that forest where he would fish, leaving the line idle as he lay propped against a rock reading, was now dry and cracked. The rainbow-colored cannibirds, no longer perched upon the ledge, waiting impatiently for him to offer the breadcrumbs from his midday meal. He wondered if it was like this in other provinces. Did they fare better, or did their eyes also see nothing but burning skies and parched earth? He hoped not. Not even on Somerset's worst enemies. No people deserved the sight that now greeted his eyes on a daily basis. How many days had it been? He knew not. Weeks? Months? Years? Did birthdays pass? Were younglings born into this chaos? Would the burning skies be all that they would ever know? He hoped not. He prayed to Ariel that it would not be this way. Time stops when you cannot see the sun and moons travel the sky, when you cannot see the many jewels glisten in the velvet night. Everything just stops. Even the great clock in the tower. It stopped, frozen, as if harnessed by some dark force, the hands no longer moving, forever stuck on that infernal day. 27th of last seed. A holiday, a holiday. The fruits of the harvest. His face was flushed with the heat, and he licked his parched lips, trying in vain to wet the blisters that had formed on his lips from being at his post for so long, exposed to the hot air, but to no avail. He lacked the spit, yet his dry, irritated eyes could not leave the multitudes of refugees against the backdrop of the burning sky. Would not leave them. It was his duty to watch them. He watched them to make sure they arrived safely. They came in droves, some riding, some walking, some even crawling. From all parts of Somerset, the ancient cities, the tiny villages. From Cloudrest, high in the mountains, to Lillandril on the Golden Coast. From Shimmerine, Skywatch, Dusk, Firsthold, Sunhold, and even their beloved capital, Alinor, with its many delicate spires of glass and crystal. The cities were now deserted, filled with piles of the dead. The great temples lay abandoned, broken. At first they tried to leave by sea for the Tamriel mainland, but the sea swallowed their ships, sending thousands more to a watery grave. The tower was all that remained. The tower was whole. To the north they came, or across the shallow sea of from Firsthold or Skywatch, the great migration to crystal-like law, the last bastion of hope for their people. From all walks of life, simple farmers, their meager possessions hoisted onto their livestock, to the grand, ancient nobles who rode in horse-drawn carriages, sheltered from the blistering heat. He watched them all enter the tower, and the tower took them all in, like a sheltering mother and a fierce father all at once, welcoming all that remained of the sundered children of Anu. It was designed for this. It was designed to hold all their knowledge, magic, and to protect everything that was Altmer, including the people. And because he served the tower, he would protect them too, with his bow, with his sword, his magics, and his life. His eyes then shifted to what lay beyond the flocks of refugees. That was his duty as well, to watch them. Their camps were just visible to his keen eyes, great portals of bright flame, the many gates, the demon hordes of Daedra. They were coming. Their commander was Molag Bal's gift to Mehrunes Dagon for a successful campaign, sent to torment Somerset while Dagon's eyes closely watched Cyrodiil. The emperor and his heirs were dead, and the empire was in chaos. There would be no aid. The tower's council of mages, led by the Archmagister in desperation, relinquished their authority over the tower to the Thalmor, on the promise that reinforcements would soon arrive. That was the final thing that he was dutifully watching for they all trusted his eyes. And nothing. He bent his head slightly in frustration. Not a single black and gold Thalmor banner was to be seen, not for days. They were alone. Alone against such a horde. Alone against Molag Bal's gift. To the Altmer, Molag Bal's gift was known simply as Bet, the Beast. He had heard tales from the refugees of his vile deeds, and he was every bit the issue of the King of Rape. A great, hulking Dremora lord with armor like a burning coals and horns on his head that spiraled like a goat. He bore an axe that had the dark power of Cold Harbor in its very metal. In his wake, only ash and death. Or even worse, undeath. Rumors, terrible rumors, for no one ever survived his onset. They fled Bet. Ealberon set his jaw and bent his head, his eyes now on the masses of Altmer seeking refuge. He was coming. There are more and more of them every day, Ealberon. The tower cannot possibly hold them all. Ealberon turned, still bracing himself on the ledge. Vingalmo had joined him, peering over it cautiously, his golden elven armor cast in an orange light. He looked troubled, his refined Altmeri features puffy from the excessive heat. Ealberon nodded and resumed his sentinel. Vingalmo didn't understand how Ealberon could lean over the tower edge like that. He glanced down. The height was dizzying. Ealberon turned to watch his good friend peer over the tower edge, mischief in his eyes. Galmo was never fond of heights, ironic, being that his good friend hailed from Cloudrest, a city upon a tall mountain. Ealberon shook his head and smiled. 'Twould be like him fearing water. Ah, to swim the cool, crystal waters of dusk now. There was, and would always be, room in his heart for jest, no matter how dark the circumstance. To not smile anymore, would be admitting defeat. "Don't fall!" called Ealberon suddenly, his voice turning playful. Vingalmo's heart skipped a beat, and he pulled back quickly from the ledge. Damn it, he wasn't even in danger of falling. He glared at his good friend. "I hate you," Vingalmo frowned, but then laughed when he saw Ealberon's big grin. "Your face was priceless," Ealberon laughed. "Soil yourself?" Vingalmo checked quickly, a spontaneous reaction. "Ha! Made you look," teased Ealberon before resuming his watch. Ronnie always knew when to break a somber mood with humor, Vingalmo thought with a nod as he regarded his friend. It brought comfort. It was the priest in him to bring comfort. In all of this chaos, he never lost his compassion. "Do you see them, Ronnie?" Vingalmo asked, approaching the ledge again, squinting. "The Thalmor?" "No, Galmo," he answered softly, leaning against the wall of the tower. "They do not come." "They'll come. They promised," Vingalmo reassured his friend when he saw Ronnie's body language. "And do you see?" Vingalmo then whispered. He was hoping Ronnie had not heard him and sighed sadly when he heard his dear friend's voice. "Yes." His tone grew serious again, pointing to the distance. "There, Galmo. Do you see the very bright fires, lighter than what burns in the sky, near the horizon? Those fires are not in the sky, but on ground level. Those are the gates. That is where they are camping. It is closer than it was yesterday. They're headed this way." Vingalmo scanned the distance in vain, but he saw nothing. "By the gods, you have the eyes of an eagle. I see nothing." "Trust me, my friend. They are there." He leapt down from the ledge and faced Vingalmo. "I must report what I have seen to the Archmagister. Keep watch." And he disappeared into the tower, leaving Vingalmo to watch the burning sky.